Metropolitan Planning Organization to order for Tuesday night, January 12th, 2021. Happy New Year to everybody. First time we've met since the new year. Again, due to the COVID-19 ongoing pandemic, this meeting is being conducted electronically as allowed by the Iowa Code. You can access the links to the Zoom meeting and also the toll-free number by going to our website, and there are some hot links there under the council meetings. So we have call the meeting to order, and Amy, are you going to do roll call this evening? Is that right or not?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with the mayor. Mayor
Here.
Hale.
Present.
Councilmember Betcher.
Present.
Mr. Gartin.
Here.
Ms. Junk.
Here.
Ms. Corriere.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Ms. Speedy Hansen.
Here.
Mr. Ludwig.
Here.
Mr. Zinnel.
Here.
Ms. Heddens. And Mr. Pop. That's everyone, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 1, which is a hearing on amendment to 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. And so I'm going to go ahead and declare the public hearing on this item to be open. And is there anybody who is indicated by raising their hand via Zoom that are interested in addressing the committee on this topic this evening?
Mayor, I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you. We will go ahead and close the public hearing. And before we entertain a motion on the amendment, Barb, would you mind there was a question that was raised by one of the committee members. He's not yet on the call, but could you just go ahead and review for the committee just what this, how this is funded, this automatic passenger counters, and also the benefit?
Sure. And John might be able to jump in here as well. But so anytime CyRide applies for a grant, whether capital or operating, first of all, it needs to be put in the Transportation Improvement Program or that TIP so that we can utilize the grant funding. So that's why it's there. So what this is we applied for a new research grant for automatic passenger counters. So the local match for that is, I don't have it right in front of me, sorry, $52,000, a little about $52,000. We already have the money, the $75,000 required programmed into our CIP. So the local funding would come from CyRide. As far as what APCs can do for CyRide, they're very versatile. So they can accomplish a lot of things. So one is it will allow people on the bus to see the capacity on the bus so that they can ride. But more importantly, I think for CyRide is that will allow us to improve our system efficiencies, because we'll be able to collect data in real time and make decisions quicker. Currently, we collect data by manually collecting the number of people. We don't know how many people board and deboard at every stop. That will give us a lot of additional information so that in the future, if we were ever to make any service changing or anything like that, we have additional information to know exactly who it might affect. Does that help, Mayor Hale?
It does, thank you. Any other questions for staff on this item? Okay, entertain a motion approving the amendment to add automatic passenger counter CyRide project in FY 2021.
Move approval. Second.
Betcher moved and Pop seconded. Thank you. Is that you, John? Did you move? Second?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. Okay, item 2, John Joyner, do you want to just give us a quick overview on this? Won't take long, but explain what's going on.
Yes, thank you, Chair Hala. Prior to becoming an MPO, the City of Ames and Gilbert were members of the Central Iowa Regional Transportation Planning Alliance. So that's pretty much the smaller communities and the counties in the Central Iowa area. Now that we are our own MPO, we're an advisory member still of CERTPA. So annually we assign typically our transportation planner to be the representative on both policy and the tech committees, and then the traffic engineer, Damian Pregitzer, as the alternate.
Okay. Any questions for John or staff on this item? If not, entertain a motion to on the resolution approving designation of AAMPO representative to Central Iowa Regional Transportation Planning Alliance.
I'll move.
Second.
Jacob, was that you? Jacob moved and Bill Zinnel seconded. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Hala,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beebe Hansen,
Aye.
Ludwig,
Aye.
Zinnel,
Aye.
Pop.
Aye.
Okay, before I move on to policy committee comments, Mayor Pop, you jumped on just a few minutes late. We did ask a question for clarification on item 1 regarding the local funding and also explained on the automatic passenger counters. Did you have any other questions for Barb Neal with CyRide? She's here and she can answer those for you.
I don't. Thank you, John.
Okay, very good. And the committee, John and I talked this afternoon. He had posed a question. I want to make sure everyone is comfortable and understands what's going on. So, all right, very good. We'll move on to policy committee comments. Mr. Ludwig, any comments tonight from you?
No comments.
All right, Rowan?
Nope, nothing for me, thanks.
David?
No, thank you.
Gloria?
No comments.
Rachel?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Tim?
Good.
Amber?
Nothing for me.
Supervisor Zinnel?
No comment.
Mayor Pop?
Nothing tonight.
All right, thank you. Hearing none, I have none either. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, we are adjourned. Bill and John, thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. And have a good rest of the evening.
You too. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
We'll take just a minute to allow the deck to get reset, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with our regular meeting of the City Council. Council for January 12th, 2021 to order. And due to the continuing COVID-19 pandemic, the City Council meeting will be conducted as allowed by the Iowa Code electronically. And if you want to access it, you can get on Zoom, go to zoom.us/J/826-593-023, or there is a toll-free number. That's 888-475-4499, and you'll need to enter the Zoom meeting ID of 826-593-023. And we also are broadcasting this online at youtube.com/AmesChannel12, or you can go to the cityofames.org/channel12 and watch it there, or as we always have on MediaCom channel 12. Council, tonight we are working from an amended agenda. There is a correction on item 5. The Feb Dollar Day should be changed to Downtown Dollar Day. So proceeding to consent agenda, council, is there anyone that wants to pull any item from consent this evening?
Mayor, I'd like to pull item 10.
Item 10, all right. Anything else? Hearing none, entertain a motion approving consent less item number 10.
So moved.
Second.
Betcher and Junk, thank you. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Gartin,
Aye.
sorry, Corey,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Okay, Gloria?
Well, item 10 has to do with the staff training for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know sometimes we as a city are not as good at showing what we are doing in our efforts to create a more inclusive community. And so I pulled this just so that people will know that staff from the city are going to be getting this training and that we are continuing to be committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion and the training of our staff in those areas.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion on the resolution.
Move approval.
Betcher and Junk, thank you. Roll call, please.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to public forum. This is a time we set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those items listed on the agenda. And Brian, if you could go ahead and explain to those who may be watching or listening how they can raise their hand and be recognized.
Certainly. Anybody who's interested in speaking here during the public forum can indicate their interest by pressing the raise hand button at the bottom center of their screen. Or if they're participating over the phone, they can press *9 on their phone and we'll get the same indication. And they can follow that same procedure for any other items on the agenda later on in the meeting.
Thank you. So declare public forum to be open. Is there anyone who is interested in addressing council on items that are not on the agenda?
Mayor, I do not see any hands raised.
Thank you, Brian. Let's go ahead and close public forum. Move on to item number 20 under administration. Discussion on the direction of Public Art Commission is taking regarding small arts grant. Brian?
Thank you. This item is on the agenda because at the last council meeting, the city council expressed interest in providing some additional direction regarding it. Olivia Madison, representing the Public Art Commission, is on the meeting and available to answer any questions that you might have. And I'll yield as well for any questions.
Questions for Brian or Olivia? Hearing no questions, we're going to go ahead and open up public comment this evening.
Actually, I didn't think of it as a question, but I'd like to make a comment beforehand.
And I'll postpone open public comment then. Thank you.
Thank you. This is kind of a funny one. I think that the way I look at this, we have two different types of projects that we have in mind tonight. We have a proposal that that Gloria made last year and we approved. And at the time, I understood it to be something that would allow individual artists to apply for small grants to do things that are basically independent without being part of a larger system. And so that's the small art grant program, at least as I understood it at the time. Now, since then, we've learned from the Public Art Commission of a proposal that involves the Octagon to provide expanded studio space to many more local artists. I think this is a great idea. I think it's a great proposal. And so I like both of these things. The last thing I want to see is having them pitted against each other, because I don't think we need to do that. So I guess what I'd like to do is just see if council supports separating them so that we can allow the Octagon proposal to move ahead somewhat independently. And then we can talk about the small art grant program and its focus on individuals instead, also in this meeting tonight. So that's my idea. And I can make a motion along those lines if you'd permit it, Mayor.
Go ahead. Oh, just a minute, Olivia, please. Let's get a motion. Go ahead, David.
I'm not getting audio. Is anyone else having that problem?
No, I'm hearing fine.
Nuts.
We're hearing you fine. How are you doing? That better?
Yeah, it's better. Thank you. So I'm sorry, after I stopped talking, I didn't hear anything you said.
Do you need to reboot?
No, but I did have to turn on my amplifier.
All right, very good. Go ahead and make your motion. We'll see if we get a second. And Olivia wanted to offer a comment before we moved on. Go ahead.
Okay. So my motion would be to ask staff to ensure that sufficient funds are available to fund the Octagon proposal in case that's ultimately recommended to and approved by council, regardless of what we decide regarding the small art grant program tonight.
Second.
Right, so moved by Martin, seconded by Betcher. All right, Olivia, did you want to make a comment on this since you're actually part of the panel?
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for permitting me to attend your meeting. I know it's open access, but not for me to speak per se. The Public Arts Commission is very much in favor of the concept of being able to fund individual artists to extend what they can do, particularly beginning artists who are just beginning to get into, their field of artistic endeavor. What we liked about as PAC, the Octagon proposal, was that it included the ability to provide space for artists to work individually as well as to gather and get and work with others or have conversations and have members of the public come in and talk with them about what they might be doing individually or collectively. And from our perception, the Octagon's proposal is much larger than just supporting individual artists in terms of some of the infrastructure needs that they have. So we were hoping within PAC to adhere to the interest of supporting individual artists through the potential of providing space for them to work. And outside of their home, outside of the school, many of their opportunities are closed now because of COVID-19. And not that, we're hoping that goes away within 6 months, hopefully. But we saw it as an opportunity to provide support for the Octagon in their vision of helping individual artists. So it's not to provide supplies. Supplies are something that differ so dramatically depending upon the field of art that someone's interested in, that it may not. But the one thing they all have in common is individual space or group space.
Any questions for Olivia?
One question I have, I'm not sure if this is an appropriate time, so you can redirect me. So this is new for us to do something like this, where rather than supporting organizations that we have a relationship with, we're now going to be supporting individuals. And I'm curious about at what point or who would be developing the criteria. For example, would an applicant have to be a resident of the community? Would that be a requirement? So could you speak to I mean, this is just new for us. Could you speak to, or someone could speak to the issue of how we think about the criteria for the applicants?
Brian, can you comment on that with respect to working with PAC and being the lead staff member on this?
I'm a little confused. That's really about the small art grant program and not about the motion on the floor. Isn't that true?
Well said. We will get to that question, Tim. Let's just go ahead and keep our conversation directly regarding the motion, which is more or less to support the Octagon.
I just want to amplify what David said. My intent originally with the small art grant program was to support those individual artists, maybe even, buying supplies, which, as Olivia has said, is not the intent of the Octagon proposal. I think the Octagon proposal is an excellent one. It wasn't what I was envisioning when I made the motion for the original grant program. So I completely support David's motion to sever this at this point so that we aren't pitting those two things against each other, because I think they're both valuable to the community.
Does everyone understand David's motion?
Could you restate it again, please?
David?
Yes, I asked to have staff ensure that sufficient funds are available to fund the Octagon proposal in case that is ultimately recommended to and approved by council, regardless of what we decide tonight regarding the small art grant program. So does that explain?
Well, again, I'm just questioning the uncertainty about the amount. So what would be the constraints on the amount?
My thinking is that given that they were going under a stated amount of $10,000 earlier, that they wouldn't have been asking more than that from this program. However, the proposal is still being evaluated by the Public Art Commission, I understand. I don't know what their exact ask for funds is. I think Steve would be able to keep it in appropriate bounds.
Olivia, do you want to comment on that? Is that what you were thinking at this point also, or not?
I hadn't really been thinking about treating it as a separate proposal, because I thought the original thought that PAC had is that the support for local artists could fit into the broader Octagon proposal. If you want to consider both of them, the two concepts separately, I understand that, and I certainly wouldn't oppose it. It would provide that much more funding to support individual artists, but in different ways. I do wonder how we would go about creating the process for the original intent that had been discussed, and who would be responsible for overseeing that particular program, and if that would be PAC or some other venue that would be staff-based. I can't really speak to that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think this question was the proposal from Octagon anticipating a $10,000 amount of money being available to fund part of their project? Is that what you're?
Yes. She, the director, was did understand that $10,000 was the limit.
Does that answer your question, Tim? And
Yeah, I think so.
okay. All right, so just beyond stating this again, the obvious, this is basically saying that there, in addition to the original $10,000 that council was going to support, there'd be an additional amount of money provided to also support the Octagon. So it'd be two different projects, not just one project, and that's the intent. I mean, the motion was well stated. I want to make sure that anyone who's watching understands that we're not trying to do a switch here. It's basically we want to support both of those.
And correct, I'll add also that we discussed it at a previous meeting or maybe 2 meetings ago, a separate grant program that has dollars associated with it that really aren't committed yet. And so even funding both of these things, I think, is drawing on funds that we've already designated for arts one way or another.
Does everybody understand the motion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're going to open up public comment on the item of the small arts grant and what was included in the staff report. And Brian, is there anybody who's interested in addressing council on this particular item this evening?
Mayor, I don't see anyone with their hand raised.
Okay, we will close public comment. Council, any further discussion or actions this evening on this particular item?
Mayor, I have a motion that I'd like to make, but first I just want to address Tim's question about, is this for residents of Ames? My motion will give the parameters that I think are necessary and would allow flexibility for the Public Art Commission and working with CODA. That seems to be what they did with this last version. Olivia, is that right? That representatives from PAC and CODA worked together on the Octagon issue?
No, it was just PAC.
It was just PAC. Okay. Well, thank you. That helps me immensely.
We weren't really concentrating on performing arts, but rather the visual arts.
And would it make a difference to you if we were thinking also about the performing arts?
I know from the very beginning that was the intent that you had.
Yeah, it was supposed to be arts broadly defined.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll just make my motion the way I was thinking of, and we'll see what council says. I would move that the Public Art Commission, working with the Commission on the Arts, develop and bring back to council as soon as practicable guidelines for a small art grant pilot program that offers competitive grants up to $10,000 for individual artists and groups of artists not eligible for CODA funding to create arts projects that will benefit the residents of Ames and/or contribute to making Ames a fun and vibrant community.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Martin. Okay, discussion.
Gloria, just to clarify your wording, do you mean $10,000 per grant or a pot of money for $10,000?
We approved a pot of money. So if the guidelines said we're going to only give one grant, the maximum could be $10,000. If the committee decided they weren't going to set an amount other than 10,000 is the pool we have to work with, and individuals applied, as I think maybe the community grants program through ACVB deals with it this way. People apply for the money that they need, and then the committee divvies it up. Those are the questions that I see as part of the guidelines, and I'm trying not to be too prescriptive, but apparently I wasn't prescriptive enough last February. So I'm trying to leave some flexibility for PAC to say, we'd want to have one grant or we'd like to support as many grants as we can with $10,000.
Right, thank you.
Other discussion, comments? Olivia, I know this is something that's going to fall back to you as the Public Arts Commission. And usually I don't engage the public or council or people not on council during this council discussion, but I want to make sure that you understand if you have any questions, because we can certainly clarify those at this point in time, or council could. But does that motion help you in terms of understanding what we're going? I'm sure that with Brian's help, you can probably help develop the guidelines. We don't want to do that particular aspect of the work. That's got to be your ability to do that.
Okay. My understanding is from the motion that this is a pilot, that the only funds that are being authorized for CODA and PAC to work together with in terms of coming up with guidelines for artists to apply, is that it's not a continuing program, but it's just, you would be looking also for an evaluation process of how it went or how difficult, etc. Would that be correct?
I would think that would be correct, but it's not part of the initial motion. Because the initial motion asks you to bring those guidelines back to council. And it may be that we need to see what the guidelines are in order to determine what the assessment process is. At least that's what I would think. Steve maybe is more on top of the assessment issues for the city and maybe has a different opinion on that.
No, I think the first step is to come back to the council with the criteria and make sure you agree with that, and then we'll go from there. Obviously, it'll be a pilot program. You're committing to only the first 10,000, and there'll be a discussion afterwards whether it's needed to continue or not, or how well it's done, meeting the needs. So that will follow the evaluation. I think will follow.
Okay. For the guidelines, then we won't be discussing an assessment process, but we'll wait to see what's formal action by the city council, is my understanding.
Yes.
And just to clarify, it could be multiple artists that maybe someone wants to ask for $1,000 to do something and someone else wants to do $3,000, or your discretion if you have one outstanding program that someone comes to you at for $10,000 and no one else comes, per Gloria's motion, that gives you a lot of latitude. The whole goal is you want to really try and start stimulating and encouraging and providing that funding to try and get to launch people, or help support them, as they are in their beginning art careers. So, all right, council. Anyone else have any questions or comments on this motion? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and call for a vote. Everyone understand the motion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining tonight? Motion unanimously carried. Anything else tonight? Lydia, I just want to comment. I think the council, I was definitely very impressed with the amount of work and effort that went into what staff, presented. Octagon put a lot of work into their presentation and really, I think, presented a very compelling and exciting vision for our community. And also supporting documentation was very helpful. And I don't think we take that lightly. It's a lot of work, and staff helped put together as well too. But thank you on behalf of council for your efforts, and you do valuable work for our community.
Well, thank you so much. And I would also give a really strong heads up to Heather Johnson. She did a fabulous job with her staff putting this together. And it does have opportunities for funding beyond this amount of money. But showing that the city supports it will really help them as they go forward with their fundraising activities. So thank you so much.
Yeah, very well done. And the pictures and the text all help together. So anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item 21, resolution setting date of public hearing for January 26, 2021 regarding the potential use for eminent domain on easements for flood mitigation project. Tracy?
Yes, thank you.
Anything you would like to highlight or bring to council's attention? The report was very well done. Council, questions after Tracy gives a little synopsis?
Well, thank you. As you're all familiar, this is the flood mitigation project that we have over $3.75 million for the from FEMA to do work 2,000 feet each side of the South Duck Bridge in the channel. And we're just starting land acquisition services. As part of getting the federal funding, we're required to go through this process of resolution for eminent domain. This is just a formality. We are working with the landowners, and we've been meeting with them regularly and been answering all their questions, and we'll go through the appraisal process and be making them offers and be bringing those hopefully voluntary settlements back to city council. So that is our goal. Our goal is to hopefully not even have to use this eminent domain, but we need to pass a resolution just in case, if that is considered for FEMA.
Questions for Tracy? I appreciate you, and I think we want to stress the fact that this is the public hearing is the council has no desire to exercise eminent domain, but it is something that you said that's required by FEMA only in the event that you cannot come to some kind of a resolution, and we trust that you'll be able to accomplish that. But, all right, entertain a motion for resolution setting a date of public hearing for January 26, 2021 to authorize the potential use of eminent domain authority if necessary to obtain easements and acquire land for the flood mitigation river flooding project.
So moved. Second.
Moved by B.D. Hanson, seconded by Corey. Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just want to say that I'll be voting against this because I've been pretty consistently voting against this whole project. So.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Junk,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
B.D. Hanson,
Aye.
Betcher,
No.
Gartin.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-1. Thank you, Tracy. Moving on to item 22, CyRide. Update on financial status of CyRide. Steve and Barb.
If you recall, the city council referred this to staff and asked that we ask Barb, the director of transit CyRide, come before the council to give a very brief explanation of the impact that COVID-19 and also the drop in Iowa State enrollment is having on CyRide. As you know, the responsibility for developing the budget lies with the staff of CyRide along with the transit board, and Bronwyn's on that board right now with me, and we're working through that. There's going to be some long-term strategies that we're going to have to develop for it, but I think the council just wants to be assured that the transit agency is dealing with this challenge before them. So Barb's here. She's giving you a lot of information. I don't know if you have any questions. I certainly don't want you to go through every line item. Again, that's something that the staff does and the transit board does, but there are some unusual circumstances here with the drop in enrollment and continued drop in enrollment. I think it's going to level off a lot lower than we were projecting a few years ago, plus the immediate impact of COVID-19. You'll see we were fortunate we've received some CARES money from the federal government, which will help us get through the next couple of years as we deal with really a challenge from the Students Trust Fund. So I don't know, Barb's here to answer any questions or go through any issues you'd like. I know, Tim, you asked for this. You have any questions of Barb you want to like her to go over?
Tim, are you frozen? Nope, we lost Tim.
Barb's there, aren't you, Barb?
Yeah, I'm here.
Again, any specific questions, or was the report enough information for you at this time?
There he is. Tim, do you have any questions? Steve was asking if you had any questions.
My internet went out for a second, so,
Out again.
Got froze again.
I don't specifically have questions. I just want to thank Barb and her team for putting this information together, because I think it was very helpful to see this and feel a little bit more confident in where CyRide is right now and what the likelihood of continuing success is in the next few years.
Thank you, Gloria.
Anybody else before Tim comes back on, hopefully?
We don't want to answer his questions.
All right, I think we have anything else to add to that then.
1 second, Steve. Let's just see. Can you keep dropping off? Do you have any questions?
better answer while I'm here. No, everything was great. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. I'll make sure before we go ahead and move on. All right, very good. Thank you for attending, and again, thank you for your efforts. And we know you're in capable hands. We'll take care of this for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
All right, moving on to item number 23. Hearing on maintenance facility fabric storage barn. Corey.
Yes, so we bid this project. We had an alternate for 2 buildings. The funding wasn't available for that, so we are recommending moving forward with 1 building. This will be a big help out at the maintenance facility for storage and vehicle needs.
Okay. Any questions for Corey? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing on the maintenance facility fabric storage barn to be open. Brian, is there anyone who wants to address council on this particular item?
I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
All right, we'll declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding contract to A&B Construction Limited of Harper, Iowa, in the amount of $157,025.
So moved.
Second.
Betcher and Corey second. Thank you. Roll call.
Corey.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Gartin. Is he frozen?
He's frozen again.
Okay. Corey. I'm sorry, Chunk.
Aye.
All we have left is Gartin.
I'm going to declare that the motion is carried. We're at 5 ayes right now, and given the technological problems, when he comes back on again, Amy will come back again and ask him, but we don't want to. Tim, you back again?
For a second, I had this great speech prepared for that item too, but we'll forego that now.
Right. Amy, go ahead. You're calling the roll on the motion to approve.
Gartin, can I get an A or a no, please?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Moving on to item 24, hearing on water plant dehumidification project. Council, do you have any questions for John Dunn this evening on this one? Hearing or seeing none, declare the public hearing on the water plant dehumidification project to be open. Is there anyone, Brian, who wishes to address council on this item?
Here, I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Thank you. Declare public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding the contract to Mechanical Comfort, Inc. of Ames, Iowa, in the amount of $262,940.
So moved. Second.
Bronwyn and Rachel, thank you. Roll call.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Thank you. Item 25, hearing on Ames City Hall Auditorium HVAC upgrade. Corey, do you want to comment on this one before we open the hearing?
Yeah, so you can see on the report for this one, we're recommending rejecting award. It came in quite a bit higher than we're expecting. So we're going to be working with our consulting firm to look at the design and timing to see if we can get that project closer to the bid, their budget.
Okay. Any questions for Corey?
Corey, have we been looking at the sustainability issues with this project and how it might fit with our attempts to improve our carbon footprint?
Yeah, we expect to see a big improvement from this, from what we designed. We were looking at rebates, looking at the possibility of those because it would be quite of a improvement. Half of this system is original from 1938. The heating part of it, the cooling was put in the 90s. So we'll see quite of an improvement in the sustainability of this system.
The other aspect too is required ventilation air for an auditorium requires a lot of operational costs and efficiencies as well too. So, all right, declare a public hearing on the Ames City Hall Auditorium HVAC upgrade project to be open. Brian, is there anyone who wants to address council on this one?
Mayor, I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Thank you. Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion rejecting all bids.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Let's do roll call, please.
Judy Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Thank you. On to item 26, hearing on the 2020-2021 pavement restoration slurry seal program. Any questions for staff on this particular item this evening? Seeing none, declare the public hearing on this item to be open. Brian, is there anyone that wants to address council on this project?
I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Thank you. Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding the contract to Fort Dodge Asphalt Company of Fort Dodge, Iowa, in the amount of $202,885.40.
So moved.
Bronwyn and
Second.
Gloria, second. Thank you. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Thank you. Entertain a motion on under 27, second passage of ordinance establishing a new industrial zoning district to be known as the Intensive Industrial Zone in Chapter 29, Article 9 of the Ames Municipal Code.
Move on second. Second.
Corriere and Beatty Hansen, thank you. Roll call.
Gartin,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to disposition of communications to council. There's only one item this evening. It's a memo from Planning and Housing regarding alley parking changes for 2724 Northridge Lane. Any questions for staff on this item?
Kelly's moving over. If you have any questions for him, it'll be just a moment.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, do you have any comments you wish to make regarding this particular item?
I don't. It's here for questions.
Any questions for Kelly? Is there a motion? Or what do we want to do? What do you wish to do with this? If nothing, then it'll just basically die.
So Kelly, as you look this over, you feel like the parking in this area is consistent with our existing approach to parking in similar situations?
I don't think there is a similar situation. I think this is pretty unique to have kind of off alley pockets of parking. It's very common in Somerset, but they're almost all privately operated except for the two that are off of this alley.
Okay. Hearing no motion, we're going to proceed on the basis of this, accepting the staff report and no actions to be taken on this item. And actually, yeah, and staff can go ahead and respond to this individual and just say that council is choosing to take no action on this then. Okay, moving on to council comments. David?
You know, there's a lot on my mind from the past week, and I can't think of a way to make a coherent comment about it.
Rachel?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Amber?
Nothing for me.
Gloria?
Steve and I think you, Mr. Mayor, received the 130-page document that was the report from our community and regional planning students who were working on community engagement ideas for us. And Steve, do you need a motion for us to have that distributed to council?
No, I'll send it out.
So we'll be expecting to look at that, and I hope that everyone will look at that document as they find time, because I think we should have a discussion of it in the future if council agrees that that is worthwhile for us. That's all I've got for tonight.
Thank you. Fallon?
Yeah, just wanted to take a moment and say Happy New Year. It's our first meeting of 2021. And like David said, a lot has already happened this year politically. And, you know, I think after this past week's assault on the the home of our democracy, I think it really reminds me again of how thankful I am to live in Ames, where we're really fortunate, I think, to have a high level of civility and respectful public discourse. But I think a lot of people are reeling from the violence that we saw at the Capitol, and they're wondering how we got to this point and what they can do. And I think it's just a good reminder that the best thing we can do really is to get involved and to build relationships with people of all kinds. And here in Ames, we have so many opportunities to get involved, like whether that's volunteering or other forms of community service. I just think now is a really important time to remind people how important that is. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Tim?
Yeah, nicely said, Bronwyn. And to dovetail with your comments, next Monday is the Martin Luther King holiday. And this year, because of the pandemic, the program will be virtual, and it can be watched live, on the Facebook page for the Ames MLK celebration, or on YouTube, or on Ames Channel 12. The program starts at 6:30 and will end at 7:45. Our keynote speaker is Wayne Clinton. And just as a teaser, Wayne has really been a catalyst for education about Dr. King through his many years of teaching in the Ames Public Schools. And I am very excited to hear his comments at this year's program. So encourage everyone to tune in for that. And it's a few days after the fact, but again, wanted to congratulate Iowa State football team on a really fun victory and representing Ames so well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Nicole?
Yeah, just echoing again what David and Bronwyn said. I just started my student teaching, and I can't say that this was something I expected to have to discuss with my students in middle school. That was kind of a difficult topic that they really didn't understand. But yeah, just kind of going through that with my students is something that I really didn't expect to have to do. And is something that I think is a big learning point for everyone, and just kind of reflect on that with your own personal values and stuff.
Thank you. All right, I have 2 or 3 things. The first thing I'll do to start off with is I've asked Keith and Kelly to just give a quick update as council's aware and supported. There's a consultant working on plaza concepts, and also working on a different consultant working on potential aquatic center that would be hopefully funded in part by some of the sales tax rebated from potential reinvestment or redevelopment district here in downtown. So a lot has happened. I want to commend Kelly and Keith for all the work they've done. There's been a lot of work done, and all the other staff members have been involved. To get to where we're at right now, I've been involved with a couple of meetings. There's some meetings coming up that we want you to be aware of, and also there's going to be some information coming back to you. So let's just start, Kelly, with if you want to give us a on the plaza, and then Keith will go to you with the pool.
Yeah, as you recall, in December, you told us to go forward, and we hired Confluence Landscape Architecture and Planning to help us to get some concepts for the plaza, which will replace Lot N across from City Hall. And what we've done is we've had a really good kickoff meeting with Confluence and had staff from both the Parks and Rec Department, the Planning Department, and as well as from the Traffic Engineering Division. And the mayor was also involved to kind of discuss how does this corner work? What are the relationships to downtown? And then also to work through those vision and features that council described to us back in November. So with that, Confluence has worked through a number of different concepts with us. Today, we just saw a refined version, which is really important because next Thursday night is our public Zoom meeting where we're going to put out there what kind of a concept reflects as much of the information that we've had so far and as many of the features that council's requested. And that's really where we're headed right now. And then City Council is also on the 26th going to have a chance to give some feedback to staff as well on the same concept that the public saw on the 21st of January. So you'll have a little bit of feedback from the public by the time you have your first formal meeting about it. You'll be getting the same information that we put out to the public here later this week as kind of advertising this public meeting that's coming up.
Thanks, Kelly. Keith?
So, yeah, good evening, Mayor and council members. So as you're aware, RDG was contracted with as an architect for an indoor aquatic center, and that area that we're looking at is the site that's owned by the DOT north of Lincoln Way between Oak and Elm, and then bordered on the north side by 2nd Street. So we have done several things. We started with the aquatics portion of the Healthy Life Center. That's what we've been kind of using as a base for the aquatics. We did get a lot of input on that through several years as we were leading up to the Healthy Life Center. So we feel that we got a good understanding of what the public is looking for as far as aquatics. We did meet at a kickoff meeting. It was Steve, Kelly, me. We met with Deb was involved. We met with RDG just to kind of go through what we're looking for. Then the first thing that we did was I met with staff from facilities, from Parks and Recreation, from the city manager's office. And what we did is we really looked at just the program spaces and sizes. What is it that we need in this facility? Based on, again, started with that the base of the aquatic center from the Healthy Life Center. Then what we did is staff met with RDG. They revised those spaces, looking at anywhere for about 40 to 44,000 square feet is what we're looking at. And then what they did is they took that information and they put together several concepts, site concepts. So what they did is they looked at how could this facility sit on that site? And they looked at anywhere from the southwest corner to the southeast corner to the north side and so on. Through the different concepts they gave, staff gave them direction that we really like kind of sitting to the southwest portion of that. as what we want to do is we wanted to look at having, more visible presence along Lincoln Way, and then have the parking more to the north of that site. They did present several different options in regards to floor plans, and there was one floor or one story floor plan, and then a couple of 2-story floor plans. We did give them direction to refine some concepts on a 2-story concept or a 2-story plan, because what it was is the footprint was only about 30,000 square foot, about 10,000 square foot up on the 2nd story. And what it does do is it does leave about 15,000, well, even more than that, 20,000 square foot to the east of the building for future expansion potentially. So we gave them some feedback. They are doing some refinements. So they are meeting with staff again, with Steve, Kelly, me, Kelly Omelet, who's our recreation superintendent, Jill Bird, who's our aquatics coordinator. And then we also have John Forth involved, just from a maintenance aspect. And he's been providing some good information as well. So we're meeting with them next Monday. They'll give us that refined concept. And then we have several meetings that are coming up on. In the meantime, with all this happening, I also have had 2 conversations, well, actually 3 conversations with Debbie Lee, who is the president of the Oak to Riverside Neighborhood Association. And it's been really good having that conversation and just keeping her informed. And what we are doing is next week, Wednesday, and I'll get that information to everybody, but we're having a neighborhood meeting. So the information is just going out to the Oak to Riverside neighborhood. Debbie has sent an email with the information out to all of her contacts. We also did send out a letter with the information to everybody, basically businesses as well, from Grand to University, and then South 4th to the railroad tracks to the north. So they all received that information, and we really wanted to just meet with the neighborhood, because obviously this facility would be in the neighborhood, and wanted to get their feedback and their reaction. So we will be sharing with them the concept that we get on Monday, and what we'll do is we'll get that information out to you as well. We also will be sending out information to the public that we do have a commission meeting, Parks and Recreation Commission, next Thursday at 4:00. So and we'll be sharing with the commission the same information that we'll be sharing with the neighborhood. And it will be an opportunity for public to provide some input as well. And then on Tuesday the 26th, then we will be sharing all this information with you, with council on that evening. We'll share the floor plan, the site plan. We'll have some cost estimates. We'll give you all that information. We'll give you feedback from the neighborhood meeting, and if there is any feedback from the public input at the commission meeting next Thursday. So we'll share all that information with you on the 26th. Give you an opportunity to provide some feedback, and then the RDG will be taking all of that feedback, doing a final floor plan and site plan so we can come back with the whole application on the 9th, and then it'll get presented at that time. So a lot of things happening very quick, trying to get as many people involved as we can. I'd be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Well, as you can observe from what Keith and Kelly talked about, in the last month, there's been an awful lot of work done. I will say, been privileged to sit in a couple of meetings with regards to Plaza. And I went back and reviewed the input comments that council had, back last year. And I think that what they're going to present next week to get public input on reflects a lot of what the visions and goals were of the council. But given the fact that the public's going to see it before you saw it, we want to make sure you are aware of that. You're certainly invited to attend, the Zoom presentation, just to listen to the public input and see what they're going to be seeing. But this timeline is so short and compressed, as Keith mentioned. early February, all the stuff's gotta be ready to go into a packet so they can go ahead and submit it. And anyway, I'm just very pleased with the progress that they're making, and I think it's going to be exciting conversation. Again, the presentations that we'll be seeing on the 26th are really for your information and some minor inputs, not for design decisions and direction. The point is, if we do get the funding and these projects go ahead and move forward, then at that point there'll be additional conversations and more opportunities to get some more direction. Kelly, you popped on again. Do you have something else you want to share or comment on?
I just want to mention the community meeting that we're having on the plaza. That'll be broadcast on channel 12 concurrently with the Zoom meeting. It'll also be on YouTube if someone doesn't have a chance to participate. And it's not the only chance for people to participate. So if they want to interact with the consultant, that's what that's for. But we'll take comment from people that can't make the meeting or have questions after the fact as well. So I just didn't want to make people think it's exclusive to a 2-hour window next Thursday.
Thank you. Steve, anything you want to add to the process or how things are going?
No. I think you'll be excited about it. At least the plaza. I think you'll be very excited about it.
Keith and Kelly, thank you for giving us a quick update. Next item is for those who are watching and listening, the application period is open for boards and commissions, and there are a number of openings that are available. And so I encourage you, as Bronwyn alluded to, there's opportunities to participate in our local community. And this is one way that is a great opportunity to meet people, to serve the community, and to have a voice in what's going on in the different boards and commissions. And we are committed to trying to get as a cross-section of individuals on these boards and commissions, including students. So Nicole and Rachel, we'll look to you and student government to try and help encourage students. There are a number of positions that are 1-year time slots, terms for students to be part and parcel of it. So anyway, and I'll just close with to kind of just piggyback a little bit and support what Brown said and some of the other comments that were made. One of the things that I really value is that we're nonpartisan as in local offices, and I am just so proud to work together with council. We may not always agree, but I will continually state to people that we work well together, we listen to one another, and we're committed to that. And what transpired in Washington, D.C. has no place here, either in Ames or in Story County or in Iowa for sure, certainly not in our country either. And the other thing too is that through this whole pandemic, Story County has really pulled together the supervisors, Iowa State University, surrounding communities, Ames, staff, and no one asks, everyone thinks the best of one another. We're trying to pull together. And so to that end, I hope that we can set the model for the way things should be done in our state as well as in our nation. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week for our CIP workshop.
Move we adjourn.
All right. Thank you, Bronwyn. Everyone, have a good rest of the evening, and we will see you next week. Good night.